back to the MVP show, and this one's going to be going live from Seattle because this week is MVP week in Seattle, so quite exciting. Anyhow, I get to have Ed Gonzales on the show with me, and what an interesting guy, such an interesting life. He's a polymath, so he's an experimenter with all things that takes his fancy, which, I appreciate that. I get it, and it lines up with my type of thinking. Anyhow, check it out. It's a great episode. Full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/183. Now let's get on with the show. Hey Ed, welcome to the MVP show.
Thank you. Super excited.
Yeah, good to have you on here and hear about your journey to becoming an MVP. How long have you been an MVP now?
Since December 1st of 2019, so just over 2 months.
Wow. So it would have been a bit of a change and a bit of a drinking from the fire hose experience, I take it.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I'm still, I think, getting my feet under me, trying to figure out all of the things that I should be doing and then also all of the things I could be doing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a juggle, right? And I think the biggest thing is don't overcommit until you do find your feet, as you say, and head down this path. But
yeah, too late for that. I'm already overcommitting. So.
Congratulations, anyhow, for becoming an MVP. How, what did it feel like when you found out?
So it was, it was shocking. I knew I had been nominated, and I honestly, I still feel like, I don't want to say like I don't belong, but it's almost like, at some point somebody's going to figure out that I have no idea what I'm doing and call me out and be like, what's this guy doing? He doesn't, he's not supposed to be an MVP. I've sort of reconciled with the idea that, being an MVP doesn't necessarily mean I'm an expert in whatever platform, but it's really about my enthusiasm and my evangelism of the specific platform. And I am really excited about it. And I dig the stack and I'm totally into sharing it. And I love seeing people's, the little light bulbs over their heads go off. And so I'll share it all day long if I can.
So good. So good. So tell us a bit about your background. Where do you kind of live, work, and play?
So currently living in Southern California. Weather's always perfect here. Sunny and mild, but we subsidize that. I mean, we pay for it and things are kind of expensive. So I'm actually looking to relocate to the Pacific Northwest. I've always really enjoyed it up there. Just the culture and the weather and the environment is absolutely, right up my alley. So I'm excited to kind of see that happen. But I've been in California my entire life outside of a short stint in the military.
So does that mean Seattle, where you're moving to?
I'm looking specifically around Portland. So if I can get in Portland, or around there, I think that'd be really cool. Seattle's a smidge too north for me, but I'm not ruling it out. It just, it depends on the opportunity and what all's going to happen.
Mm-mm. What about family?
So all of my kids are grown. My oldest daughter lives in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And my younger daughter lives east of where I'm at now. And then my son's out in Palm Springs right now, but he's talking about moving up there as well.
So good time for a shift then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sounds cool. So, and what about your military service? What was involved there?
Nothing super exciting. I joined right out of high school. There were a lot of kids that this was back in the late 80s, that, they weren't really looking at the military as a cool thing. And I had a few friends and one of them was really close and he had talked about it and he was going in. And so, I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a go. I had a really good time. I was in for 6 years, and it made a difference, taught me some things. I felt like I was able to contribute to some stuff. I spent my last probably 2 years as a drill instructor / instructor, and so was able to teach people and shape young ideals and get them to do things that they probably didn't have the confidence to do beforehand. So I had a good time. But at the end of 6 years, I was kind of like, okay, I can either, if I sign up, the next contract was going to be 3 years, which puts me at 9 years, which is almost 10, which is halfway to the 20, which is required for retirement. So I wouldn't be signing up for 3 years. I'd be signing up for 14. So I just decided after the 6 that, we were kind of done, and we'd agree to see other people.
Nice, nice. Those who change themselves change the world is a picture that you have on your Twitter profile. Tell me about that.
So, interesting story there. My younger daughter and I, we were up in Seattle actually checking out colleges when she was, I think, a senior in high school. And she had done so phenomenally in school that, her mom and I had told her, you figure out where you want to go. We'll figure out a way to get you there. And so at the time she was interested in theater, and there was a private university up there that did that. And that made me a little nervous, but thankfully she ended up choosing a different path. But we were walking to the hotel, and somebody had spray painted that graffiti on the side of on the side of the street. And it was so kind of striking to me, and really kind of hit home. And I'm sure it's a standard quote that everybody's heard of, but I don't get out much. And, I get all my all my information from street graffiti. And so I snapped a picture of it, and it just kind of became a mantra. It just became, something for me to measure myself by, I guess. Because I've always wanted to change the world. And I was on a different trajectory. I was not on a path to be an MVP. I was not on a path to be in the Microsoft universe. And I was able to kind of turn all that around in short order.
Wow. Wow. The other thing I noticed is your profile pic has a lot of bookshelves behind it with a lot of books.
Yeah, I was in that particular picture. I was in a bookstore, a local used bookstore, which is, one of my favorite smells is old books. And so I was in there checking things out, and the guy really liked my t-shirt. So he took a picture of me and my shirt for their Facebook page. And
Gotcha.
Somebody said I had a nice smile, so I put it on. That's my
so
Twitter
cool.
page.
That's
Yeah,
cool. That's cool. Wow. Okay. So who was responsible for nominating you and getting you into the program? What did they see? And what's that journey been like?
So it was a team effort. I have a lot of people to thank, and I actually, am always grateful for everybody that had every part in it. And, it'd be impossible to kind of, acknowledge everybody. But I think the very first person that raised my awareness as far as what MVPs were was Britta Rekstad.
Wow, good old Britta.
This was when I was in the kind of the dynamics space. I still am. I mean, I'm still there. But more recently, got involved with the Power Platform and really kind of showcasing that and getting excited about that. And I did a Power Platform World Tour in, it was the Silicon Valley one. And that's where I met John Levesque, and Melissa Hubbard was also there. And Melissa was one of the folks that nominated me. And then her and John kind of brought me into what they call the Flow fam. So a bunch of, business app Flow MVPs. And that really sort of accelerated my knowledge. So fast forward, a few months, and then Melissa and Sarah Critchley both nominated me for MVP. And I gotta say, I mean, I was floored. I didn't expect it. And I was absolutely just completely flattered. So I was really beside myself.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. I've just actually spent probably the best part of about 2 hours chatting backwards and forwards with Critchley on text as we update each other in her life in Canada now. So
yeah, super fantastic, and I'm so glad to have her on our continent.
Yeah, and I see Melissa's gone on to Microsoft now. So
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
so good.
A lot of great stuff coming out of both of those.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so the experience for you now that you're in, what didn't you know was gonna what didn't you know was gonna happen, and what were the kind of the pleasant surprises, and I don't know, there are any unpleasant surprises of the journey thus far?
I don't think anything super unpleasant other than what we were talking about before, where I was saying, I pretty much have started saying yes to everything. That's kind of how I got in this mess. I gave myself 12 months of I'm just going to say yes to whatever comes my way. And so
I love it.
that led
Shonda
to
Rhimes, eh?
right, right. So put me in a lot of positions where I'm speaking a lot and things like that. And so that sort of overcommitment stuff and over commitment has an asterisk there because I don't know if it is over. I really enjoy it. I'm still getting my feet under me with it. I'm still, figuring out the whole speaking thing and finding that rhythm and getting sessions that are solid. Like I said, I don't feel like I know this stuff as well as everybody, but I definitely feel like there's an audience of people kind of like me, where they're maybe, power users or, you know, um, maybe beginning admin slash developer stuff, or maybe they're just kind of piqued their interest. And those are the people that I try and speak to. But the stuff that I really like has just been like things I didn't expect. I didn't expect to be automatically welcomed into like this huge family of people that are super excited to not only about the platform but to help you out and kind of put their arms around you and say, okay, this is the way, and share all that stuff with you.
Tell us a bit about Britta and how your paths crossed.
So I'm going to screw up the location, because I've been in a lot of different places since then. I mean, you know the story, right? Um, I, I feel like it was St. Louis, but we were speaking at a similar event, and I think we had a session together, and it might have been like a thing where the user group kind of put us together on a session together, and since then, I mean, just fast friends, and she's helped me sort of grow, and I've got a ton of like management experience, so I was sort of helping her with the other aspects of running businesses and stuff like that, and it was just like it was a perfect kind of partnership, or I guess still is.
No, so good, and it's a shame we haven't seen her around as much lately, been poorly as she is. But who knows if she'll be at MVP Summit? I'd love to see her again.
Yeah, that'd be great. I expect she'll be good enough to, healthy enough to be out soon. MVP Summit's coming up in a couple of weeks, so I don't know about that, but hopefully, we'll get a chance to all hang out.
So I see that you've got a strong background, looks like in Dynamics 365. I see D365 Black Belt. You've been involved in the user groups in that space, and you've obviously in more recent times moved into Power Automate. I can see you're Microsoft certified trainer. Got your MCSA as well, and of course MVP now. None of that happens overnight, so I assume you've been on a bit of a journey. Can you tell us a bit about how this transition's come about and how you've moved from being very Dynamics focused into the Power Automate space?
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I had been in the Dynamics 365 or the CRM space for quite some time. I actually date back to other CRMs, for a long time, and kind of have always been in that space in one way or another. But recently-ish, 5 years or so in the Microsoft CRM side. And just kind of working through that, and then when Flow came out and we had a chance to do some automation that tapped into other connectors, that made a difference. That was like an epiphany wake up moment for me to start to do some really cool things. I had already been working in some other products that did similar stuff, but nowhere near as powerful and nowhere near as easy to use. So when I started getting into that, that was pretty exciting, and things sort of accelerated. The MCSA was actually on the Power BI side, because when that first came out, or when, let me rephrase that, when I was first aware of it, that really kind of made a difference in how I was presenting a lot of the data. I, like most people, was doing several different things. And one of them was the reporting aspects on, all the different sales initiatives and campaigns, like all the data that is captured inside Dynamics 365. And when I started seeing some of these visuals and the insights that you could gain from Power BI and how easy it was to connect to multiple data sources, like I just chased after that. I loved it. And I was trying to really kind of get people excited about that, where it was at. Didn't totally latch on, but I didn't lose my excitement. And then following that, got into the Power Automate side, or the flow side as it was back then, and really just kind of took off, and trying to do some really cool things and sharing stuff with that. And I love being a part of the community and seeing how people use this stuff. Like it's amazing to me, just the everyday ways that the platform is making things easier and better for people.
Yeah, so true. So what led you down the Microsoft certified trainer path?
So that was more, I forget what triggered it, but I saw a post that somebody had said that, that they were looking for trainers, they were looking for MCTs. And so I started looking at the requirements and realized that I pretty much had them all. I had, a bunch of training experience throughout the years. And then I also had the required, I think the MCSA that I had was one of many different requirements. And so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and get that. And so that one was actually the end of December. So that's more recent than the MVP. And that one I'm still trying to figure out my way around, at the same time as I'm trying to figure out my way around the MVP.
Yeah. So good. So good. And I just love this continuation of learning and applying on your journey. Now, outside of MVP side of things, are you into aviation or what? I see the Flying Polymath is the name of your website, which I think is totally awesome. And a wicked photo on the front there. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm a student pilot, and all of this comes from a desire to learn. I love learning things. I love, picking up new things, and I'm absolutely convinced that's going to be, the attribute that kind of keeps my brain from going to mush as I get older. I just want to keep learning. I've always been interested in aviation. It was one of the reasons I joined the Army. I wanted to fly helicopters, but it turns out, and for the kids at home, recruiters lie. No offense to any recruiters, but that's not what I ended up doing. And so years later, when I was out of the Army and out of school and everything else, I thought, well, now's a chance. Now's the time for me to chase after that. And one of the local junior colleges has a great aviation program, and so I started up with that. And I'm actually one class away from the aviation science degree that they have there. But yeah, you're right. That's one facet of my polymath journey. I've got, all these different hobbies and things that just kind of keep me challenged and keep me interested and chasing after, different tinkering projects.
So what else is on your radar there?
Okay, so one of the big ones is aquaponics, which is very big in your neck of the woods. And that's where you're growing, food from fish poop. And
is that vertical as well? Is it often
you can do that vertical? Yeah. So you can. So the grow medium, really, it's up to you how you do that. The harder part with that is just getting the water up to the top and running it down. But it's no different than any other hydroponic system. The only difference is just the chemicals, because there's fish involved. You can't really customize them as much as you can in a standard hydroponic side. But that's one thing that's got my interest. I love to tinker with electronics and stuff like that. I'm an amateur radio operator. When I have space, when I have the house up in Oregon and I'm not in a 1-bedroom apartment anymore, I'll have a good setup and I'll be able to talk to my friends in Japan and Venezuela again.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So do you have to throw on a big aerial for that?
The one that I had, so the last house I was in, I had a small, like it was basically a piece of wire that was, I'd say 10 meters long. And I just stuffed that underneath the eave of the house so you couldn't even see it. And with that, I was able to talk to Japan, Venezuela, Russia. And it was awesome. It was two pieces of wire. I was talking to somebody in Russia, using a piece of wire and a radio that was, I think, older than I was or am. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. I dig the hobby.
Sounds cool. Alrighty, well, time's flowing. We're already at the 25-minute mark. Before I let you go, I always like to throw out some really random questions online.
Yeah, this is what scares me. I've been doing my research and listening to some of the other ones, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect.
The thing is, neither do I, right? Until I pull them out, I don't know what we're having. So are you ready?
I guess so.
Okay, would you rather be proposed to in private or in front of family and friends?
In private.
What mistakes do you keep making over and over again?
I keep saying yes to things.
What's your dream job if money didn't matter?
Probably teaching.
Awesome. What's the best thing about the opposite gender?
Decline to answer.
If you could only drink one type of alcohol for the rest of your life, what would you choose and why?
Mead, because I really love honey.
Yeah, so that is wine made from honey, right?
It is absolutely true. Yeah, and going on the polymath thing again, I was at a beekeeping class on Sunday. So
no way.
Learning all kinds of cool things. Also very big in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, well, I've just been doing a heap of research for buying my first hive, so very keen on that myself.
Yeah, so we'll have to chat afterwards.
Yeah. What one accomplishment are you most proud of?
All of my kids, super proud of them. I love seeing what they're doing. Like, to me, that's the legacy, right? That's the thing I'm leaving behind. It's not the stuff that I acquire, but it's the story that they're building and sharing with the world.
I love it. Ed, if folks want to connect with you online, I see you've updated your Twitter handle recently. Where else can they find you?
Yep. So flyingpolymath.com is my website. That'll be the bestest, easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, powered by Ed G. And that should cover it. Really, I'm LinkedIn, Ed Gonzales. It's all there.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've heard about the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge, have you? Maybe not, maybe yes. Well, if you're wanting to get a handle on where your career is going in the Microsoft Business Application space, this free 90 days of mentoring is for you. More than 200 people enrolled in 2020 for the program, and I'm just capping it off at the moment, just in the final stretches. It's been an epic journey, I tell you, with those people that have been involved. If you want to find out more information or get in touch with me, go to nz365guy.com/90day MC, or just Google 90-Day Mentoring Challenge and you should find me there. If that's of interest to you, I'm keen to hear from you. Anyhow, full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/183. See you next week.